What's going on, everyone? My name's Eric, and today on the channel we're going to be checking out this super sick, super in-your-face, and, Ferrari yellow Jackson 2025 Pro Series Dave Davidson signature 7-string guitar. And this is pretty much my perfect 7-string for many, many reasons, especially if I'm looking for one of these outlandish, crazy shapes that is not a super strat, and this is basically right up my alley. So what we're going to do in today's video is set this guitar up, because yes, even though it's brand new and it shouldn't need a setup, this guitar still does need a setup for some reasons we're going to be talking about later on. Then we're also going to plug it in, do the normal demo and everything like that. And lastly, I want to see what Jackson is cooking for 2025 in terms of the fit, finish, quality control, and all good things related to those things. One of the reasons that we're going to be setting up this brand new guitar is because the way that it is set up from factory does not match what the owner of this guitar wants. The action on this guitar is hilariously low right from factory. I'm going to get some close-ups of it, and I'm just going to run you up and down the fingerboard. Might be a little bit hard to see, but this guitar is literally effortless to play right out of the box. You might be able to even hear might be hard to hear, but when I'm playing this guitar, some of the notes are actually fretting out and kind of buzzing out, and that might be something that you can live with, especially maybe on these higher strings here, especially for soloing and things like that. But when you're getting down to maybe right around here on that 7th string or beyond, you really want to have that note clarity, and this might get a little bit challenging to track with, especially when the action is super low regarding to note clarity. So what we're going to do is just take this up a hair. This guitar really doesn't need much, just so the owner of this guitar can kind of have the best of both worlds, where the leads are super easy to play, but these low notes down here and all those open strings and everything like that for the chugs are going to sound really great, and the chording and the articulation is going to sound really great as well, especially when you are tuning low. You really want that note clarity. Otherwise, if I bought this guitar and if this was mine, I would probably leave it as is, because this feels really comfortable for me. But that's going to be for a different time. Let's just throw this on the bench and let's get this dialed in for the best of both worlds, for chugging and for soloing. First things first, when you are adjusting the action on your Floyd Rose guitar, what you want to do is have a little bit of foam or a little bit of cardboard right in this section here. This is going to help support the bridge, especially when you are loosening the strings. The bridge is going to want to dip all the way back. So to counteract that and make your life way easier, what you want to do, put a little bit of foam under the bridge, and that'll help support it when you are adjusting the strings back up to the desired tuning. Then you're going to take off the clamps for the locking nut. Then you're going to loosen all of those strings off. Okay, strings are loose, and even then, when I push on the Floyd Rose trem right here, I still feel a lot of resistance, and that's probably because there are 3 springs in the back here. So what I want to do is actually loosen maybe 2 or all of the springs from the back, just so this Floyd Rose can move freely. So when I go to adjust the action on the Floyd Rose, whether I'm taking the Floyd up or down, even if the strings are loose like that, but I can still feel that there is tension on the bar, these knife edges on the Floyd Rose here are going to still grind against these adjustment points, and that's going to cause them to prematurely wear out. So what you want to do is still make sure all of the tension is off of that Floyd Rose trem. So take those springs off as well, and then put your Allen wrench into these adjustment points, and then adjust them either clockwise or counterclockwise, whether you want to take the Floyd Rose up or down. All right, so we actually have 4 tremolo springs on this guitar, so what we want to do is just take out 2 and see if we can move that Floyd Rose a little bit easier. Okay, that is way easier to move. Again, it's probably hard to capture that on camera, but way easier to move. So I feel a little bit more comfortable adjusting those Floyd Rose adjustment points, just to take the action up a little bit more. The nice thing about most guitars is that they are going to give you the Allen wrenches to adjust the adjustment points on the guitar, whether it has a bridge like this or another style bridge, and even to adjust the truss rod. So this is a really nice touch, so you don't have to run to your local hardware store and get an Allen wrench set. I'm going to do the same for the other side. And again, you don't really have to go crazy with this to get the action up just a little bit higher. On a guitar with a Floyd Rose, you are going to have to use more steps than you would on a guitar that has a regular hardtail bridge, just because there are more moving parts and more parts that could wear out if you're not careful. You can see that the base plate is going to be sitting up a little bit higher, and if that's not high enough, what you do is just simply repeat this process until you get the strings sitting as high or as low as you would like. And yes, on a Floyd Rose, even though the bridge is built on a flat base plate, and all bridges are built on flat base plates for the most part, what you can do is still adjust the Floyd Rose so it is sitting a little bit on an angle. So I can actually have the low strings sitting higher than the treble strings, and that is going to be totally okay as well. You don't want to have it sitting crazy like that, and that might be an over-exaggeration, but if you are bringing it up just a little bit like that, I'm sure you're going to be okay, especially if you need to have those low notes really ring out on your extended range guitar. Something else I'm going to do is actually put a little bit of this 3-in-1 oil into the Floyd Rose arm here. I noticed when I was screwing it on, it seemed like it was getting stuck in a few points, and maybe it's because these guitars are so new. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of that 3-in-1 oil into the collar of that arm right there. And then I'm going to screw that onto the bridge. Now that we're here, let's just run down the guitar real quick. Putting my fingers on the edge of the fingerboard. There are no sharp frets. That is very nice. Feels good. Pickup mounting screws look really good as well. You know, that Floyd Rose feels really good. Switches feel good. The volume pots feel good as well. Paint looks really good. There's no like imperfections or anything. Frets are super clean. Again, this should be clean because it is a brand new guitar. Although I have seen some brand new guitars with some pretty dirty and oxidized frets right from the factory. So this is checking out as a really well-built guitar. All right, so I got the new strings on. The bridge is on an angle and kind of angled forward, and the guitar is out of tune. So I have a couple options of what I have to do here. This base plate should be sitting pretty well flush with the body. So I can add a spring to do that, or I can screw the screws that are going into the body even further, which will then pull that bridge down more while I'm still tuning that guitar a good amount. This is very specific to a Floyd Rose. If you don't have a Floyd on your guitar, then you can just set the guitar up as it is and you won't have to deal with any issues like this. All right, so the bridge is a little bit closer to where we want it, and the guitar is pretty much in tune. The bridge, it might be hard to see, it is still on a little bit of a back bow here. The yellow is really contrasting against the black, so bear with me here. But I really want that bridge sitting a little bit more flat, like that. Start unscrewing those adjustment screws out from the body to then slowly release the tension to bring that bridge up. If you take one of the springs out that you added, your bridge actually might be like this, and you might be basically where you started. If you need to make those really fine adjustments, just start unscrewing those adjustment screws, and then you should be getting that Floyd Rose sitting super level. One last thing about the Floyd Rose is that whether you are adjusting the screws or adding or removing springs, you still have to tune the guitar because that is a crucial part to getting this bridge sitting flat. All right, now here is the Jackson Davidson Warrior all done up here, and once again, this guitar feels really great right out of the box. There were no sharp fret edges or anything like that. We got the guitar fully set up and fully dialed in. I took the action up just a little bit, but it might be hard to capture on camera right here. But the action is taken up just a little bit. Once again, the action was super low from factory. So much so that when you would play open notes like this, you wouldn't have this level of like loudness and like note clarity, even with those brand new strings on the guitar. Even like just like hearing that snappiness and that response of the notes and just the overall that note definition, like that is how the owner of this guitar, Andrew Baina, likes his guitars set up. So yeah, if that helps you, like really give that a shot if you are struggling with note clarity on your extended range guitar or your guitar in general. You can still play super fast even if the action's just a little bit higher, but you are gonna notice a difference in your overall tone when you take the action up just a little. So now getting to some specs and features on this highly anticipated and highly sick guitar. We have a Nyota body, which is very similar to mahogany for the most part. We have a Floyd Rose 1000 series 7-string trim here. We have the locking nut right at the top. We have a very simple electronics layout, 3-way pickup selector, 1 volume, 1 tone. There are no push-pull switches on here to access single coil tones. I guess that is something that Dave Davidson doesn't really do. We have 2 DiMarzio Occult Classic 7-string pickups. Those are the Dave Davidson signatures, and I believe these pickups have now been revoiced for 2025 and specifically for this guitar because this guitar is now a baritone. This guitar has a 26.5-inch scale by comparison to the outgoing 25.5-inch scale on the previous models. I really believe that having the longer scale is really going to help with tuning down or even just like your overall tone in general. It's just going to be a little bit cleaner and clearer sounding, especially when you are tuning lower like we've done on this guitar here. This guitar looks obviously super sick. Output jack right on the corner here. We have regular Jackson like strap buttons here. It would be nice to see if there were some strap locks, but is what it is. We have a maple fingerboard and neck, 24 nickel frets, 12 to 16-inch compound radius. The neck shape is super thin, super flat, just like your average Jackson guitar, except this is a little bit wider because it is the 7-string Floyd Rose nut right up here. Just regular die-cast Jackson tuners, non-locking or anything like that. We have a scarf joint on the back here. That is just the way that Jackson necks are made. Feels great, and again, super slim necks, feels really good. Upper fret access is really no issue. Made in Indonesia, and overall this guitar feels really good. Let's plug it in and let's hear how this wicked thing sounds. So at the end of the day, what do I think about this guitar? And honestly, I really think this is a sick guitar after being able to spend a good amount of time with it, setting it up, playing this guitar, and living with it. This guitar is super sick, especially for the price point. This thing comes in at around $13.99 USD at the current time of filming. It's made in Indonesia. It's a really great value production guitar, if your budget is in that $13.99 USD range. And if you want something that is extreme as this, that's a baritone, 7-string, Floyd Rose, personally, I would be after something like this. I love the aesthetics of this. It plays great. The neck's super comfy. I'm very familiar with the Jackson neck. Feels great. Pickup sounded really great as well. And honestly, I'm not really finding the need to get any single coil tones, especially going to the middle and the neck position. I'm really able to get some awesome clean tones and some great lead tones. Bridge position sounds really awesome for rhythm playing as well. And again, these pickups have been revoiced for this guitar and especially for the additional scale length here. Speaking of the scale length, again, this is something that I'm after as well. 26.5-inch 7-string, especially with the Floyd Rose, all of those are something that I would be looking for. And the fact that, again, it's a Warrior, Explorer, X-shaped kind of guitar, it's something that's off the beaten path, and it does stand out, and it does make a statement rather than a traditional super strat. Nothing wrong with that, but for me, I want something that's a little bit different, especially if we have two guitars that are of the same price point, and maybe one's a little bit more in your face. This is kind of what I'm after anyways. Otherwise, this thing feels great. The Floyd Rose is great. No real tuning instability because you do have the Floyd Rose bridge that locks and you have the locking nut. We got 5 springs in the back, so there should really be no tuning issues at all. The way this guitar also came set up from the factory was like right up my alley. I would maybe take the action up just a little bit, but like on the low side, just to get a bit more clarity, but otherwise, straight out of the box, it felt fantastic. Gonna be totally honest with you there. Those are all things that make me really want this guitar here. And even the red one too, that has the reverse headstock and the ebony fingerboard. I could honestly go either way, and if I had either in my collection, I'm pretty sure I would be very, very happy. Yeah, otherwise, nothing negative to write home on the overall build and performance features of this guitar. The one thing that I did notice about the guitar that I found really interesting was on the back here, there is a little bit of like a clear coat and like a gloss, like paint line back here. It's very, very minuscule, and I feel like I might be making a mountain out of a molehill for this. Kind of looks odd that there's this random piece of like gloss natural wood, then there's the yellow, then there's the unfinished maple neck. It just looks a little odd. It doesn't affect the playing or anything, but yeah, just kind of an odd one there. I do really wish that this guitar came with a hard shell case, because for the crazy shape of this guitar and the headstock, they give you a gig bag, which in my opinion is kind of like putting a sock on a guitar. And for a guitar this pointy, and if this guitar is getting shipped around, if you're touring with this thing, that's just my thing. I would never really send a guitar around in a gig bag, but you know, that's just for me. Your mileage may vary. And at the end of the day, if this was my guitar, I would probably move these electronics back. I'd ditch the tone knob, move the volume, the toggle switch down there. But those are not make or breaks for actually purchasing this guitar, because this is a sick example of what Jackson is doing right now. And yep, this is really great. Seems like Jackson is really knocking it out of the park in 2025 right now, and I hope they continue to do so, because this is a really great example of what they're up to. Let me know all thoughts and opinions on this guitar down below. If you are a fan of the yellow one or the red one, let me know down below. If this is your first time checking out one of my videos, please consider subscribing. I have tons more videos on my channel going over guitar maintenance tips, setup tips, checking out some really cool guitars and other guitar related topics as well. And if you are a returning subscriber, make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that I upload. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you next time.